At the beginning of the season, I said the Big Ten is the conference of running backs. Nothing has changed. They are still the best league in the country for those running backs. And today, I'm going to commit. Everybody loves commitment, right? That's right. I'm going to commit to who I think is the best running back in our beloved Big Ten. Now's a great time to subscribe to the channel. Big Ten content every single day. Always crush that like button, like a lot of these running backs have been crushing opposing defenses here this season. Look, when I look at defining my best running back in the Big Ten, I got to get finalists. Like the Heisman Trophy, I got to get a group of guys to New York because obviously everybody knows this award is on the same level as the Heisman, right? No, maybe not exactly. But you got to get some finalists. You got to get a group of guys. And I'm going to get a group of guys that I think are tier one in the Big Ten. And here are my three. Michigan's Blake Corum, Illinois' Chase Brown, and Minnesota's Mohamed Ibrahim. I'm going to start with Mohamed Ibrahim from the University of Minnesota. I think out of all three of these guys, this is the guy that's most NFL ready, right? He has the experience. He's been on campus for a long time. He's logged a lot of snaps. He's logged a lot of carries at the University of Minnesota in Big Ten football, which is tough football week in and week out. I think he's going to be 25 years old by the time the NFL season rolls around again. So he's going to have a lot of experience, and I think his body is going to be ready to go, and I think it's going to be the most NFL developed and NFL ready. I think he could be drafted and plugged in as an RB1 right away on an NFL roster. Illinois' Chase Brown. He's not necessarily a guy that can bust off a ton of big-time runs and make a lot of explosive plays, but this is a guy, he gets 1, 3, 2, 4, 5 yards, and then bam, he hits you with 20 yards. 3, 4, 2, 3, 2, 30 yards. He grinds you down. Just like Illinois football, he kind of takes on the personality of the team that he plays for, just like Illinois football. This is a guy that is very difficult to bring down behind the line of scrimmage. This is a guy that's always churning forward. This is a guy that's always running through arm tackles. And Chase Brown just gains yards. He gains yards. He scores touchdowns. Like, this is a guy, I think his strength is just that he keeps on going. And he keeps on going. And he keeps on going. And he never goes backwards. He always goes forwards. And eventually, if you keep on getting those types of runs, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 1, 5, eventually you're going to bust a big time run. And that is what Chase Brown is all about. The last one, Blake Corum, is he can do it in so many different ways. You know, when you look at Blake Corum, you look at Michigan fans, you think of a guy that was on campus, 15 to 17 years ago. Man, am I getting old. And he's also the running backs coach on this team, wore number 20 for the Maize and Blue back in the mid-2000s. That's right, he reminds me a lot of Mike Hart. And I think there's a reason why is because, like I said, he's coaching them right now at the University of Michigan. What better coach to have than Mike Hart, one of the greatest running backs in Michigan history. Blake Corum, man, he does it in so many different ways. I mean, he's a smaller back, but I love his balance. I mean, I've seen so many clips where he gets hit and any other back would kind of fall on his side and fall down, but he's able to get his feet back under him and keep on going. And he's got tree trunks for quads. You can tell he's been on the squat rack just a couple of times in his life, and he can do it so many different ways. He can pound you on 4th and 1. He can get you 3. On 3rd and 8, he can bounce it to the outside and get you 10. He can even catch passes. I think of all of these guys, he's the best guy in the passing game. He's the best guy that can get outside and catch passes. I really like the versatility of what Blake Corum brings to the Michigan Wolverines. All right, it's time for me to commit who I think right now is the best running back in the Big Ten. If I was building a roster, who would be my Big Ten running back that I would put behind the quarterback as the starting running back? It's Michigan's Blake Corum. And I think the reason why is because of his versatility. I think he's just so difficult to defend because he can do everything. He can literally do everything you ask him to. You know, I love how he can do it in the running game. He can do it in the receiving game. He can catch the ball out of the backfield and then make guys miss, kind of going down the field. And his speed, I think, out of all of these guys, he has the best breakaway, big play ability. And the statistics say he's the best at getting into the end zone, got a nose for that end zone, scoring points is the name of the game. I just love how he can do so many different things. And depending on what the defense is doing, he can respond and he can answer the call, whether it's running the ball to the inside, bouncing it to the outside. The big play, explosive ability, I think is something for me that separates him from a Chase Brown and a Mohamed Ibrahim. Not saying those guys can't hit the big play. I'm just saying those guys are more churn it out, physical, run the ball up the middle, you know, like I mentioned with Chase Brown, 3, 4, 2, 5, getting chunks of yardage. Blake Corum, I feel like every time Blake touches the football, he can take it to the house. I'm not sure if I feel that with Chase Brown and Mohamed Ibrahim. I know they can take it to the house, 60, 70 yards out. They're more methodical backs and they wear you down as the game goes on. It's just, but with Blake Corum, he can hit you at any point in time. He can hit you from 60. He can hit you from 80. He can hit you from 20. He can catch passes out of the backfield. He can go inside. He can go outside. He is my pick. And it's not always been that way. You know, I've said publicly, Mohamed Ibrahim. I've said Chase Brown. But man, the more I watch Blake Corum and I rewind back to last season, I just love how he can do it in every single way. Want to know what you guys think? Who do you think is the best running back in the Big Ten Conference? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Gonna give some honorable mentions. Braylon Allen, I think, is a guy that's right there. I think he's got power. I don't know if he has the breakaway speed like some of the other guys in the top tier right now, but I am going to say this about Braylon Allen. Okay, he did not take the firing of Paul Chryst lightly. You saw that tweet on Twitter. I'm not saying a lot of Wisconsin guys are transferring, but keep an eye out for him entering the transfer portal after this season. He may want to change in scenery with Paul Chryst no longer in town. I look at the Penn State guys, Katron Allen and Nick Singleton. I think they're just a little too young. I think they've got a little bit more developing to do to really get in to this top tier. But man, we know the explosiveness that Nick Singleton, he's hit some big time runs this season. I think when you talk about explosiveness in the Big Ten and hitting big time plays, you know, Blake Corum is high, but maybe just a little bit behind him is Nick Singleton. Of course, the physicality of Katron Allen. Those guys will be in the top tier when all is said and done in their time at Penn State University. Once again, leave your thoughts in the comments below about this subject. So many great backs in this conference. Subscribe to Big Ten Ted. I'm Big Ten Ted. We'll see you in the next one.